Have you ever walked out of a meeting thinking, that went really well? You felt like you contributed, you shared your ideas, maybe you even helped move the conversation forward. Then, a few weeks later, you find out that someone didn't enjoy working with you at all. Maybe they thought you were too aggressive. Maybe they thought you talked too much. Maybe they thought you were cold, controlling, or even disorganized. What's interesting is this. Most people will never tell you. They won't pull you aside and say, hey, can I give you some feedback? Instead, they stop asking you for your opinion, they stop inviting you into important conversations, or if they have a choice, they quietly choose to work with someone else. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I don't actually think that most people are disliked because they're bad people. In fact, I think it's usually something much more subtle than that. I think your greatest workplace strength may also be the exact reason someone secretly struggles to work with you. And once I realized that, it completely changed the way that I look at people. Now you might be thinking, okay, Melissa, why does this actually matter? Well, because whether we realize it or not, we are making impressions on people every single day. Sometimes those impressions open doors, and sometimes they quietly close them. They influence who gets promoted, who people trust, who gets invited onto important projects, who clients want to work with, and even what happens when you walk through the front door at the end of the day. The better you understand how different people experience you, the better every relationship in your life becomes. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why certain people frustrate you, why you frustrate certain people, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Because once you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You have fewer conflicts, you build trust faster, you become a better leader, and honestly, life gets a whole lot easier. Here's something I've noticed after working with hundreds of leaders and teams over the years. Most of the behaviors that frustrate us aren't actually weaknesses, they're strengths, just turned up a little too high. Think about confidence. Confidence is a fantastic quality. Leaders need confidence. Business owners need confidence. People who move projects forward need confidence. But if confidence gets turned up too high, someone else may experience it as arrogance. Now think about attention to detail. That's a huge strength. Those are often the people catching mistakes everyone else missed. But when that strength gets turned up too high, other people experience it as perfectionism. Patience, another incredible strength. Until someone else starts wondering, are we ever going to make a decision here? Enthusiasm. People love enthusiasm until it becomes so much enthusiasm that nobody else can get a word in. Isn't that interesting? The behavior didn't actually change, the perception did. Most annoying workplace behaviors are simply someone's greatest strength turned up a little too high. I wonder how many workplace conflicts have absolutely nothing to do with personality and everything to do with perception. Because here's what I've learned. We naturally communicate in ways that make us feel respected. If you're someone who values getting results, you probably appreciate people who get straight to the point. If you value relationships, you probably appreciate people who take the time to connect before business. If you value stability, you probably appreciate consistency and predictability. And if you value accuracy, you probably appreciate details and careful thinking. None of those are wrong, they're just different priorities. The problem starts when we assume that everyone values what we value. This actually happens all the time in my own family. My daughter naturally values getting to the point. She's direct, decisive, and likes conversations to move very quickly. My son is almost the complete opposite. He values patience, steadiness, and making sure people feel supported. When he's explaining something, he likes to paint the whole picture before he gets to the point. And I watch this play out all the time. My son will be halfway through explaining something, and my daughter jumps in because she's already figured out where he's going. In her mind, she's thinking, I get it, let's move on. But to my son, it feels incredibly rude. He's thinking, would you just let me finish? Meanwhile, she's getting frustrated because she's thinking, why is this taking so long? Neither one of them is trying to upset the other. Neither one of them is wrong. They're simply communicating through two completely different lenses. And I think that's such an important reminder because this isn't just a workplace issue. It's something that shows up around the dinner table, in our friendships, in our marriages, with our kids. really everywhere human beings interact. Once you start recognizing that people have different communication priorities, you stop assuming bad intentions and you become much more curious. And that one shift completely changes your relationships. Now think about the manager who interrupts you after 10 seconds. You might walk away thinking, wow, they're rude. Meanwhile, they're probably thinking, I'm just trying to save everyone time. Or maybe you've worked with someone who sends 3-page emails explaining every tiny detail. If you're anything like me, you might be thinking, could you just summarize this? I like bullet points. But in their mind, they're protecting the team from making an expensive mistake. Or maybe you've worked with someone who spends the first 10 minutes of every meeting chatting before getting to business. You might think they're wasting time, but they're thinking, I'm building trust. Same behavior, completely different intention. At work, I'm naturally someone who likes momentum. Let's make a decision, let's solve the problem, let's keep moving. And for years, I've found myself getting frustrated with people who wanted to analyze every single detail. I think, why are we making this so complicated? And then something clicked. They weren't trying to slow me down. They were trying to protect the team from mistakes I never even saw coming. That realization just didn't make me a better communicator. It made me a better listener, a better leader, and honestly, a better person overall. You know what's interesting? The people I enjoy working with the most aren't always the smartest people in the room. They aren't always the funniest. They're not even always the nicest. They're usually the people who make me feel understood. And that's a completely different skill. The best communicators don't expect everyone else to communicate the way that they do. Instead, they ask, what does this person need from me right now? Sometimes that's getting straight to the point. Sometimes it's slowing down. Sometimes it's giving more details, and sometimes it's asking more questions. Great communicators don't have one communication style. They know how to adapt. I want to leave you with one question. Think about the person who frustrates you the most at work. Seriously, I want you to picture them. Now ask yourself this. What if the behavior that annoys me the most is actually their greatest strength? I love that question because it replaces judgment with curiosity. Instead of asking, why are they like this? You start asking, what are they trying to accomplish? That single shift has transformed conversations I've had with leaders, teams, couples, and families. So maybe the number one reason people secretly dislike someone at work isn't because that person is difficult. It's because they're communicating in the way that they want to be communicated with, instead of adapting to the person sitting across from them. And maybe the biggest blind spot any of us have is not realizing that our greatest strength can sometimes become someone else's greatest frustration, because people don't experience our intentions, they experience our behavior. The more we understand that, the better leaders we become, the better teammates, better partners, better parents, better friends, because people aren't difficult, they're different. So I'd love to leave you with one final thought. The next time someone frustrates you, before you decide they're rude or impatient or controlling or impossible to work with, pause for just a second and ask yourself, what strength might I actually be seeing here that simply turned up a little too high? I honestly believe that one question has the power to change your relationships at work, at home, and everywhere in between. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which communication style do you find hardest to work with? Is it someone who's overly direct? Someone who gives way too much detail? Someone who takes forever to make a decision? Or someone who never seems to get to the point? Leave me a comment below because I genuinely read them all, and many of my future videos come from the conversations that we have there. And if you'd like to understand your own communication style and learn how to communicate more effectively with different types of people, I've included a link in the description for my free communication style quiz, along with other videos and resources that dive much deeper into these concepts. If you found value in today's conversation, I'd really appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe. It helps the channel reach more people, and together we can help create workplaces and relationships where people understand each other a little better. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.